this actually happened, of course, on a mission. And, you know, there's a lead flight, and there's a number 2, 3, and then 4 is down here, and 5 and 6. So that's one flight of 6, and then you got another flight of 6. Then you got another flight of 6. That's a box. That's 6, 6, 6. That's 18. Then you got another box. That's another 18. So 2 boxes are flying out. Lots of bombs there. And out in front of the first box, they have a window, which is 3 airplanes flying about 100 yards apart. 1, 2, 3, back and forth, throwing out this tinfoil, you know, to flutter down like off a Christmas tree stuff, and that would get in the way of the an aircraft, so they couldn't get through, you know, and focus on the planes. So we were flying back and forth. The leader was a squadron commander, one of those last missions. He was having a ball, and I was on the right wing, and another guy was over there, and we're going back and forth, and they're throwing out all this stuff, and he'd come at me, and I'd try to get out of his way, you know, and then he'd go over here, and I'd put a lot of power and try to catch him, and on one of those turns, I heard this chunk. I looked at the instrument panel, and the oil pressure of the right engine went down to 0. I knew I lost that engine. You're not going to fly with any oil pressure. So I had a little toggle switch there to turn the propellers into the wind to reduce the drag and bring the engine to a stop. The co-pilot's sitting there and he said, hey, we lost the engine, yeah. So now we're dropping back. Everybody's going on, and we're getting, you know, and we're losing altitude. But a great thing, the Allies had these short-range navigation stations in Europe, 3 of them. I got on the phone and I said, this is Goldway Brown on single engine. Give me a heading to the nearest airport. Gee, in a couple of minutes, they had me located, and they gave me a heading to the west, to the airport I was supposed to reach. So we're losing altitude. We throw out all the boxes. We throw out our flak vests. And finally, at 1,000 feet, we could hold altitude with the dense air. That was good. Single engine. And we fly for an hour and a half. And we get to this airfield. I looked down there. It looked like an anthill with fighters. They were fighters taking off and landing and taxiing all around. All kinds of fighters. And the reason was, they were about 8 kilometers from the Remagen Bridge over the Rhine that had just been captured, and the Allies were pouring tanks and trucks and troops over there, and these fighters were protecting that bridge from the German Stukas dive bombers, so they couldn't take the bridge out. So, and I can look at a world book and I know that exact date that this happened. Anyway, as for landing instructions, circle the field. I came around again, landing instructions, circle the field. 3rd time they told me to circle the field, I said, clear the runway, we're coming in. Because, you know, how long is this engine going to last? 1 hour and 3/4 now. And, okay, I was coming in around, and they cleared the runway. Now, when you land on single engine, they always teach you never to come in low. Because if you're low and behind, you try to add power, it would just go over. You couldn't hold it. Okay, I wasn't going to come in low, but I overdid it. I came in high, and I had full flaps, and with gear down, I was gliding at a 45-degree angle. I came over the end of the runway, 100 feet high. What choice? Got to land. Flew it down to the runway, rounded out. I'm on the runway, going 170 miles an hour. Maybe there's a 10-mile wind. And everything's going by pretty fast. I looked out the end, and there's a graveyard of airplanes and junk at the end of the runway. Oh, gosh. I got to get stopped. We'll have a 1,000-pound pressure system for the brake. I could have pulled that. No, I got brakes. I'm on the brakes. That's good. Should I pull up a gear and slide? Oh, that would be a bad mark against me. I mean, they need the field and everything. The last thing I could do is lock the wheels. So now the wheels, I'm going like this, you know, and I lose control of the direction, and the airplane starts going off the side a little bit. I think if I go too far over, those struts will wipe off, but we shuddered to a stop and couldn't see the end of the runway over the end of the nose of the airplane. Everybody cheered because after an hour and 3/4 they were so happy to be on the ground, as was I. And then the tractor came out and pulled us out of the way. And later that evening, a plane from our outfit came over for gas, stopped in for gas, and we hitchhiked home with him, and we never saw that airplane again. So that's my single engine story. But I want to make a slight supplement about living at A-72 near Peronne, where we flew out of into Germany. And I met a girl there in Peronne. She lived with her mother in an apartment. Lillian Marchini, her name was. She wasn't that pretty, but that didn't seem to matter. and I lived with her at her home a lot of the nights. You know, she was a very accommodating girl, you know. Anyway, part of this story is kind of funny. Once there was a family dinner, and they had a bunch of people around the table. And back home in high school, I had 2 years of French. So I was talking French with Lillian, and a lot, you know, and I was getting better at it. And a light went on. I wasn't translating into English. I was thinking in French, okay. But here I am at the dinner table, and I was getting kind of warm, so I said, "J'ai chaud." I have warmth. And everybody at the table goes, "Shh, shh, 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 shh." I said, afterward, I said, "Lillian, qu'est-ce que c'est? What's that all about?" And she said, "You should have said, je suis chaud, I am warm. Instead, you said, I'm sexually hot." And even though it may have been true, I shouldn't have used that at dinner table conversation. That's my story.